What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Miss Teen Crypto Show. I'm your host, Randi Hipper, back at it today with some good vibes and a really amazing guest. Before I get started, make sure you guys are showing some love to the stream. We love and we need love in this space. Make sure you smash the like, subscribe, and share this stream out so more people can learn about today's amazing guest. Hi to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for coming. Make sure you interact with the stream. The more you do that, the more YouTube shares it out, and the more people get to hear today's stream. Guys, I'm going to waste no time. I want to say hi to this amazing guest, Girl Gone Crypto. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm doing great. It's great to finally get to connect and chat. Obviously, I've seen your show for years. You've been around for years now, which is really impressive. I think of going through a big bear market, all of that. So anyway, exciting to finally be connecting. So
I know it's been a long time coming, and I'm happy to get to know you today and actually get to chill out, because honestly, when I first came on crypto Twitter, there weren't a lot of women. Period. It was you and maybe 3 or 4 others that I followed, but that was still not many. And you were really positive always since the beginning. And I loved the way you were just articulating things in your videos. I remember when I was first doing research in crypto, I was watching your channel and taking notes on my Google Doc from your channel. So thank you for everything that you're doing. So how is everything with you? How has this bear market been treating you?
It's been just fine. I think that every cycle you learn a little bit more. You make mistakes, you figure out how you want to play your cards a little better the next time. But this is my second bear market, and so yeah, it's been nice. It's just kind of a little bit more chill, which I think is maybe good, but that being said, how can I even say that? It's been crazy. With everything that's happened during this bear market, every week in the Crypto Minute, there's no lack of things to cover, you know what I mean? And so even though, I say, it's been kind of more chill, I guess truly it hasn't. So
I feel like we're just numb to the pain a little bit. Just being in this space for so long, it's just exchange goes down, SEC coming for somebody. Whatever. That's whatever. It's just plain. But I think we are numb to a lot of things. But before we get into crypto and all of the drama that ensues with that, I want to talk about you. I want to get to know you, Lea. Can you walk me back to yourself in college, let's say? What did you want to do with your life? Where did you think everything was headed for you?
Okay, well, back in college, that's, to be honest, I had kind of an unconventional college route. I just worked full time and did community college and got a 2-year degree. And then I actually started working for a tech company right out of that and stayed with them for a long time, which, was great. It was a great place to work. I really enjoyed it. But I decided a few years into that, I don't know, maybe when I was 26 or something, I was I think I want to finish my degree, because I felt a little stuck. I was I don't want to feel I can't just go out and get whatever job I want. And at that point in time, I felt getting, a bachelor's degree was the thing to do. So anyway, I did it online, and while I was still working, at the tech company. And so yeah, anyway, that's kind of in terms of college, that's where that was. But I didn't ever have a really strong career. I want to be a doctor, I want to be this or that, which is kind of why I was we'll just see what happens with schooling. But I think that's what's kind of cool and just in general about life is different opportunities present themselves to you. I came across crypto in 2017. And then, from then on, I feel that's just almost all what I've been living and breathing and doing, because it's caught my attention so much. And so that's what's kind of cool. You never know where things are going to go, what's going to happen. I've been getting really excited lately about AI as well. It's the first time I've felt at strongly again about something really as I did with crypto, where I'm this is cool. I need to dive more into this. And so, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's,
no, it definitely does. How did you find yourself in tech, and was your degree related to tech in any way? Was this always a big interest for you?
My at first it wasn't. It was just kind of a good job that came across my path, because I was actually working as a barista, and one of the executives at this company was a regular of mine, and was I want to hire you. I'm going to make a job for you. And I was okay. So
nice.
That's kind of how that happened. And then from there, I did end up getting my bachelor's degree in something that was a little bit more tech related, but it was kind of more a business degree with a little bit of tech in it. So
At least there was some exposure there. I mean, there aren't a lot of women in tech right now. Even we're still really early in the tech space, I think, in general. I think we're still extremely early in the internet, as crazy as it is to say. How do you feel the tech industry has kind of evolved from when you were younger until now?
Well, I mean, obviously, like I think that one thing that's interesting that we hear a lot of people kind of compare the, crypto industry to the tech industry in the sense that like companies used to say that they were like a computer company.
Yeah.
And now everyone uses computers. It's just like, well, of course, and maybe it used to be that like when you were interviewing, you could be like, oh, and I have computer skills. Now it's like, you can't get a job unless you have computer skills, and so like, I think that looking at that evolution of like how quickly adoption has happened within that realm. And then, you hear people compare that to crypto where it's like, now there's blockchain companies, but in the future, it'll be like, oh yeah, that's just part of our, tech infrastructure is that we utilize blockchain technology in these different ways. And it's just kind of obvious. And so when it comes to like kind of career path type things, like I have always been a really big proponent of saying like, take the time to educate yourself on trends and what's happening with crypto, with blockchain, with AI, with all of these things, because right now it's something that a lot of companies they don't know as much about. And as it gains more mainstream adoption, where there's more utility, there's more apps that companies are using, when you can say confidently on your, in your interview that you're like, oh yeah, I really understand this. And here's what the value I bring to the table. It's kind of like back, whatever, 15 years ago, or I don't know, however long, to be like, oh, I'm really good at computers and how that would help you get a job. I really think that just in general, like embracing and taking the time to learn about what is on the cutting edge of tech will just always end up benefiting you.
I totally agree. Set yourself ahead of the trend instead of waiting for it to just happen, I think is just so essential. Just don't wait. And you didn't wait, and you were in crypto pretty early. You said 2017 is when you found Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a funny story too, because I'd heard about Bitcoin before that, because I had like some friends that were like mining and doing some stuff, and I thought it seemed weird. They would like go over to their house and then have like ASIC mining rigs, and it'd be like hot in there. And I'm like, what is this like weird thing that you're doing? But then one of those friends actually recommended in 2017 to me a blogging platform called Steemit, which back in the day was like one of the first big dApps. It's not really around anymore. It's not, but anyway, he was like, you might like that. Like it might be interesting to you. And so I started posting on there, and that's kind of what really like got me down the rabbit hole. I could tell you more about that story, but like, I think that that's kind of interesting because it wasn't until I like really had crypto in my hands. Because for those of you who don't know what that was, it's basically like a platform where you could earn crypto for posting content. And I had also never made content before. So that was interesting. We talked in the beginning about like, you never know where life's going to lead. Like I've never made content. I didn't know that was something I would enjoy, and that kind of opened the door for me because I was like, oh, I'm earning money at this. I'm going to give it a shot. And then once I actually had crypto in my hands, I was like, well, wait, what do I do with this now? Suddenly it was interesting to me versus like my random friends telling me like, oh yeah, Bitcoin is the future and like whatever. I was like, cool, but then once I was really in it, I was like, okay, I need to learn about this. And then the more you learn, I feel like the more you just kind of tumble down the rabbit hole.
Wow, Steemit was your entry. What did they reward you in for Steemit?
In Steam, they had two different currencies. One was a stable coin, one was like a fluctuating coin. But yeah, wow. So it was basically in their own like native currency. But again, that's where I had to like learn, how I was like, why is this even worth anything? And then how do I convert it? What is this thing called a BTC pair? What's an exchange? What's a hardware wallet? Like it just kind of like once you have it, you're like, okay, now I need to actually figure out what to do with this.
Exactly. And how do you think like the experience of all of crypto has changed since you got in? Because I mean, you came in 2017. That's pretty early. A lot of different apps have come out. A lot of cool, fun, easy to use things have come out since then. How have you feel it's been for you and your experience in crypto?
I think that it's come such a long way in actually being user friendly. Like I know that we still have a really long way in terms of adoption and that kind of ease of use, the UI, UX, the intimidation factor that people still feel around crypto. But ultimately, I feel like the tools we have now are so much easier than like back in 2017, 2018, when it really was hard to figure out, you really had to want it. You had to like really want to figure out how to buy and store your crypto versus now you can like log on to Cash App and like buy some Bitcoin and it's done, like it's like super chill. Right. And so, obviously if you want to do more complicated things and do self-custody and get into DeFi or different things, like that's obviously still complicated, but the general like initial entry point now I feel like is, a lot more user friendly. But one thing that I like really struck me that was, kind of intimidating when I first started trying to learn was it was hard to find good information. And not that there wasn't good information, but information that my brain knew how to wrap around. There would be these like hour-long live stream with this guy saying like all these words that I'm like, I don't even know what half those words mean. And it wasn't like an organized, clear, this is what like this is how this works. This is what you need to do. Like, obviously I watched all the like Andreas Antonopoulos Bitcoin videos, I like that kind of stuff was helpful to me, but like a lot of the more like tutorial, like how do you do this stuff? I felt like there wasn't really great stuff out there. And so that was something that I've always really tried to do on my channel is, when I'm doing educational stuff, make it short, make it really like easy to understand, make it feel approachable so that when people, come to crypto and they do feel maybe a little bit intimidated or like not sure, it's like, okay, it's not all of these like nerd guys, super smart, guys like live streaming for an hour and a half that I got to sort through. It's like, okay, if that girl can figure it out, I can probably figure it out. That's kind of my goal. I'm like,
no, I
absolutely
love
got this.
Exactly. No, that's great. And I just put your link to your YouTube channel in the chat. All of her information is in the description, by the way. But what I really loved at the beginning is because I'm Gen Z. I don't have attention span. You know what I mean? 2-minute crypto explainers. Go check those out. They were so useful for me when I first came into crypto watching these. So yeah, guys, make sure you check out that playlist on her channel. And you came in 2017. That was when Bitcoin was running and dumping. How did you feel about coming in at that time? Why did you still believe in crypto and want to care about it when it was such a volatile asset?
So, to be honest, that's actually, I think, going through that bull run is what really like hooked me, if you will. Like, I had really baby bags at that point. It's kind of like early 2017. So it's just kind of like buying a little, I was earning some on Steemit, turning some of it, maybe into Bitcoin, maybe, some other things I was playing around with, different coins I'd heard about, I was just kind of like barely dabbling in some of that, maybe taking some extra money from my job, if I could every month, putting it into random stuff. But I only had like a, kind of small window of time under my belt. And so when that bull run happened and I saw those little baby bags grow to like a reasonable amount of money, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then when I started really studying it and being like, wait, this cycle happens like every 4 years. I was like, so I could really, really double down and stack as much Bitcoin as I possibly can in this next bear market. And it might actually change my life forever. I was like, yeah, that's a gamble I'm going to take. Like, I'm going to like, and so I think just seeing that, like that change. And then obviously it all came back down again, like, and I didn't sell any, I didn't play that well.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But it just was really eye-opening to me what was possible. And so, yeah, I went really crazy last bear market, like just, I started posting more on Steam and talking more. I started doing more like little side hustles. I was like finding like luxury purses at like thrift stores and selling them. I was like doing all these like weird side hustles just to try to like stack as much Bitcoin as I could. Tried to get a promotion at work, to earn extra money, like all those like little things. But yeah, I went really like hardcore and it totally, the plan worked,
wow.
So the bull run came back. So
that's incredible. And were you telling your friends and your family at this point in time, look at crypto? Because it's always, someone in the family starts the crypto thing and everyone's like, what are you up to? What was that reaction like?
It was really a mixed bag. So I definitely had friends that were like, that's so cool for you. Not interested, kind of thing. But the other thing that a lesson I really learned, is that in 2017, like I said, I was buying some Bitcoin, but I was like buying a lot of like random things because that's what I thought was like gonna be smarter. I don't know why. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know what they were. I didn't, I just was like, I don't know. I heard someone talking about this. I should go buy it.
Just lottery
and
tickets.
Then I know.
Yeah.
And then I would like tell my friends about it. And so then when these bags all completely collapsed and, they still never really recovered. I still have some dead 2017 bags, to be honest. They were really pissed at me, because they were like, I put money into that. And I was like, well, I didn't say you should buy it too. I just said I was buying it. And so it made me realize like that how I talk to my friends and what I say like matters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that also taught me a lesson too, that, I really need to understand what I'm investing in, buying those like little lottery tickets. Sometimes like you make a some crazy choice and it works out really well, but more often than not, like if you don't have a real investment thesis around something on like why you think it's valuable, why you think what they're doing is different, why you trust them, why you think that maybe they're secure and they're not going to rug and the team is good, like all those like, whatever your checklist is of due diligence. I was like, if you don't know those things and you just like heard some people talking about it, like you're not going to know when to sell. Like you are the exit liquidity at that point. You know what I mean? And so like, if you're not up on it, you're not going to know when's a good buy point and a good sell point and like all of these things. And so I really scaled back what I was investing in and which projects I was, and I learned a lot more about them and actually like joined their communities. I started following along. I started really watching the charts. I started like actually paying attention to a much smaller amount of things and things that had a lot more, lifespan on them. So I went really pretty much just Bitcoin, Ethereum for a long time because I was like, okay, I know that those are probably still going to be around. And so, and that's what I would tell my friends too. And even today, when my friends ask me about crypto and like what they should invest in, if I know that they aren't like really interested in like diving into like learning like the tokenomics of this or that or blah, 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 I'm like, until you want to do that, like just stick with Bitcoin, Exactly. And so even today, I learned that lesson with some of my friends losing their money on random things I mentioned in 2017. I was like, be careful what you say for one, and two, really understand that they're not gonna follow this as much as you will. So tell them just to kind of stick to those top few.
Yeah, in 2017 was like the ICO summer. It was like every day there was something else. Like everyone was making like stupid money and then losing it because like everyone was, like you said, the exit liquidity of the bigger people. And excuse me, I feel like that is a big problem where people just don't do their due diligence. And I mean, even recently we saw one big meme coin, it popped off. Everyone was like, oh, we're integrating it here, we're integrating it there. And then it just crashed to basically nothing. And, people just wanted to get in for the hype. Like, how do you control not getting in because of the hype and actually just taking that time and saying, hey, I'm going to do my own research? And how do you do your own research? If you want to give some tips.
Yeah, so that's a really big question. And honestly, sometimes I struggle with that because I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, I really missed the boat on that. Like I heard about that. I should have gotten in. But for everything that I feel that way on, I probably don't even realize how many times I saved myself because I didn't get into something right. You know what I mean? And so in terms of like doing your own research, I think that there are, there's a few like just really basic questions that you should be able to answer quickly and off the top of your head. Like what is your kind of like price thesis around this? Like understand, I think like really like, not that you have to really learn how to do like technical analysis and like really understand how to like chart things, but just like be aware of kind of the price action and the cycles of it and like be like, okay, do I feel like I have a decent grasp on, a good entry exit points, etc. But in terms of, I guess like on a higher level of like, is this a good project to invest in or not? There's a lot of different things you can be looking at, obviously longevity and, like amount of time in the market, the amount of development on top of it is really big, like Ethereum's not really going anywhere. But there are certain like tools that you can use as well to kind of analyze different things. One that I've been like having a lot of fun diving into lately is the CertiK, what is it called? It's some sort of like analysis tool.
Don't they do the audits too?
Something. Yeah, so they do the audits, but they have this tool, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but if you Google search, you know, someone watching this Google search, it's like, it just analyzes like a certain project, like a lot of different details about it, you know, like just kind of like, and gives it almost like a score and a grade. And I still think that people should do their own research on like what that score means. But like one of the things I thought was really interesting is that like, it shows you like, okay, so here was like the findings of the report. Have they done anything about it? And I'm like, well, that's good to know. Just because something's been audited doesn't mean the audit went well.
True.
You know? And so I think just like looking past that layer of initial, but also I hate to say this, but like, I feel like I use a lot of like just kind of gut feeling things. Like there's certain like red flags that you can notice with certain projects, you know, that I think you can just kind of you kind of develop your own list of like kind of red and maybe yellow flags. We're like, this might not be a big, you know, but even things like analyzing their like Twitter page, you know, like, because to be honest, I can't go read the smart contract and really understand if I think that the security is good. Like, yes, I can go read some of these audit reports and different tools, and hopefully those will like help me, you know, analyze things a little bit. Obviously, like CoinGecko's got some really cool tools, CoinMarketCap, like there's a lot of good like tools out there. It'd be better if you know, like can actually read all of that for yourself, you know, but ultimately I'm glad that there are some of those tools. But then for me, like on more of like the soft side, like the social side, that's something I really understand and I can kind of look at. And so if I see that they like purchased all their followers, you know, as a company, or like that they seem to be like botting their posts, like you can tell when a post, you know, when it's got as many retweets as it does likes, like they're probably in Telegram being like, we're going to give you money to everyone go retweet this right now. Like to me, that's a red flag. Like there's just like so many like just kind of like little nuanced things that don't necessarily make a project good or bad. But to me, they're just like little red flags. So I kind of just feel like diving into a part of maybe joining their Discord. You can tell if like a lot of people are like, oh, we have like 25K Discord, whatever, you know, 100K Discord. Getting there, is it mostly just bots or is it real people having conversations? So I kind of like to look at that side of things as well. So I think just spending time around its community will tell you a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you for shouting that out, because I do see that a lot where, you know, things come across my desk and I'm like, okay, let me go take a look, and same likes, same amount of retweets. And then, you know, you go in their Discord, there's nothing popping. You'll say hi in there. No one will answer. And it's like, you know, where's everyone? What's happening? So yeah, I definitely understand that. So especially if you're not a technical person, I definitely suggest checking out like everything social, websites, the team. I think looking at teams is extremely important, because it's like crazy. Like you'll listen to someone in a video or a space and you'll think they're like talking all this smart stuff, right? Then you'll go look into them. You'll be like, oh, so that's what's happening here. So just do your own research. I very much appreciate you dropping that. That was like absolute alpha. And when you started creating content, what said, like, besides, you know, your rewards on Steam, what kept you going? Especially because there was a bear market, which for content creators, we both know it's a little bit more difficult to, you know, keep going and just keep entertaining and just putting out good things throughout a bear market when the sentiment is just not there sometimes.
You know, to be honest, I doubled down and like really went crazy as much as I could last summer. I should say I didn't start growing crypto until 2019. I was just kind of on Steemit doing stuff over there up until about that point. But yeah, I really saw it as an opportunity where I was like, there's way less noise right now. Like I actually have a chance to like stand out and like poise myself in the next bull run, because come the next bull run, there's going to be 1 million people making content about crypto. And if I can get ahead of that wave, and, you know, really start to build a little bit of my credibility, start to be like, no, I'm here for real. I'm excited about crypto. I'm not just showing up randomly in the bull run. I was like, this is such a valuable, important time that like, I have to just do whatever I can to get to a certain threshold so that I can actually like take advantage of the next bull run and, you know, kind of go from there. And so, yeah, I just kind of saw it as like nothing but opportunity to stand out. So
love that. Love it. And were you intimidated at all? Because there, like you said, there were like these established guys that were like technical. They knew a lot. They were here for a long time. Were you ever intimidated?
Oh yeah. I mean, I still am. No, but I mean, so, okay. So to be honest, when I first started my Girl Gone Crypto channels, I pretty much just did interviews for a long time because I was like, I'm still learning a lot for one. I'd been around crypto for a few years at that point, just kind of like learning and playing around with it and investing on my own and like doing some stuff like that. But I hadn't really made like crypto content at that point. And so I was like, why would anyone care what I have to say yet? And so I was like, well, why don't I just ease into it? I can ask questions. Like that's something I could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, and that's what was amazing is I feel like I learned so much from just interviewing people and talking to people. And like, instead of me like having a question in my head and then having to try to Google things and find information about it and having to try to like find a video about it, I had a live person right there that knew the answer that could just tell me, because to them it was really easy because they've been around crypto forever, And so that I didn't really realize how valuable that would be and how, I'd been around for like about 2 years kind of learning on my own and how much that accelerated my own learning process, just by getting to ask smart people questions. So
yeah, and you did, like you said, put yourself in that position where you had an advantage and you were building your network. And what I like to say is that this is a build market, not a bear market. And that applies to every bear market out there. It's a build market. It's a time to step in and get things done. And you put yourself in a position where you had great guests on your show. And I'm sure you'll continue in the future to keep, doing great things. But man, you having the opportunity to ask all these founders, you had just great people on your show. And I definitely understand being able to talk to people. I've learned countless amount of great information from this show and just talking to people from all different types of backgrounds. It's just amazing. I mean, even the Crypto Minute. I love the Crypto Minute. It's great for Gen Z. It's fast. It's like what happened in crypto in 60 seconds. How did that begin for you?
Okay, so actually it's kind of a funny story, but I was feeling a little discouraged by crypto content because like I was saying, it was either this long live stream, like they're just charting and doing stuff. And I was like, I'm not super interested in watching that. Or it was super obnoxious, the thumbnail, the whatever price, the kind of thing. Yeah. And I was like, gosh, that is so cringy. And it's just so annoying. And why do people do this? Who wants to watch that? And so anyway, I just was like, that is not my show. I was like, there's gotta be something else in the middle that's normal people content that I can do, So anyway, so I started just really looking okay, what are content styles that are popular and kind of more mainstream, people that like to consume content, the type of content I'm liking to consume, the type of content that people like me want to consume. What are those styles, and can I make that about crypto so when people like me come to crypto, they might actually want to watch it, And so at the time, vlogging was really big, kind of day in the life kind of stuff. And so my initial crypto minutes were almost more day in the life. I'm making breakfast, I'm making coffee, talking about crypto. So it's kind of evolved a little bit since then, but I originally kind of did that. And then I was really into watching ASMR videos at that point. So I tried doing some crypto ASMR, which I admit is very cringy. And that didn't go very far at all. But and then I was doing these kind of weird, I did a Harry Potter themed video and a Star Wars. So I was doing these kind of cosplay. But anyway, I just kind of experimented with a lot of super not traditional crypto style videos, making them about crypto. And of all of that, the Crypto Minute was really the one that stuck. But since then, TikTok came out and that's blown up. And so that style of video content is something I really enjoy and I do a lot of, and so I'm glad that kind of emergence of style has come out. But yeah, for a while there, it was long live streams and super obnoxious, everyone's gonna lose everything. Watch this video right now, garbage,
No, I feel that. And I think it's hard to diversify and, because crypto people, they like a lot of one thing, but it's cool to draw people in. And I think the Crypto Minute engages the crypto community, but it also engages just other people that want to find things that are, yes, more entertaining and more mainstream and less intimidating, I feel, because especially early on, like you were saying, and even when I came into the space, that's mostly all what I saw. Besides, your channel was one of the few that I was able to go to and actually understand what they were talking about. about, because it's a little overwhelming. Even now, like, sometimes you look up what is Bitcoin and it's like a 15-minute video of a guy that's like just saying the most technical stuff, and you're just going to lose people at that point. But I think the way you're doing it is so entertaining. You always have different outfits on, and you travel a lot. So it's like every crypto minute, I'm like watching, I'm like, where's Girl Gone Crypto now? You're like a world traveler. Like, and I know you've gone to crypto conferences before, and I think you've spoken at conferences, right?
Yeah, I used to speak at conferences a little bit more. I still do sometimes, like maybe like I'll like moderate a panel or something, but yeah, we'll see. It might be something I pick back up, at some point. But I think I found that like just going to a conference and getting to be kind of more like a media, person, and like attending a conference more to like maybe do interviews or like talk to people or just kind of like hang out and have a good time was just like way more fun to me and way less like stressful to me than preparing a 30-minute presentation.
Yeah.
So I've kind of like stepped a little bit away from that, but who knows, maybe I'll come back to it at some point. But yeah, I think that being on panels is kind of fun. But yeah, in general, I think that going to conferences is really cool and like can be a really fun way to meet people. And like, to be honest, I feel like it's like good for me to go to them at least every like so often, just to like remind me that like the crypto community actually is like a really positive space of people building cool stuff. Because I think that when we're on Twitter all day, like, like it feels like the world is ending and it's like, everything is terrible and crazy, and it can feel really negative really quickly. And so to go to, and meet all these people in person that are like so passionate about what they're doing, I think it's just like a really good like refresh on like, okay, yeah, the space is, moving forward. It's still cool.
Yeah, exactly. Crypto is still cool, guys.
Yeah. Now, what about you? Have you been going to many conferences, or like, what are your thoughts on conferences?
I think conferences are all right. I really do love conferences, and I've been speaking at conferences since I think 2020 or early 2021, and I've gone to like, talking to middle school kids. I went to my old high school to speak.
Nice.
I went to Utah Valley University to speak. So I've done like a lot of different things, and I really love it. Like, I love speaking at conferences. I'll do anything, like I've done interviews at conferences. I've spoken, I've done panels, moderated panels. Like, I'll do anything. I'll talk to the wall about crypto. You know what I mean? So I really I really do get excited. It's my passion. So I definitely do love conferences. I just think that not a lot of conferences target Gen Z and like the younger audience, So I'm waiting for more of that to happen, but we're still extremely early. And I think conferences are changing a lot. I mean, if you went to Bitcoin 2022, I was there. I went for a little bit. It was popping. People were so passionate. NFT NYC, the market was down 90+%. And you would never know it was down 90+% if you went there, because everyone was just so excited. So I really do see your point there. And being that we're in the midst of like a little bit of a build market right now, people are struggling. Bitcoin made a nice little pop. How do you feel about everything that's gone on in 2022? Are you happy about it? Are you upset about crypto? What are your thoughts?
I think that I think that honestly, like, I'm expecting, and I hope, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I'm expecting that we'll probably have like a pretty chill year. Like, I think that things might start ramping up at some point, but, like this year, maybe like towards the end of the year. But I'm just kind of expecting there's a good chance we're going to have some sideways action for a while. And I feel like that's like, when you set those expectations, it's like a little bit more manageable and like a little bit less disappointing. But yeah, no, 2022, I really did learn a lot on like, like I said, this is my second bear market. And so I'm like, okay, here's how I positioned myself for this market. Here's what I learned. One of the things I personally, I want to focus on a little bit more in the next bull run is like actually capturing more profit. I had plans in place. I always say have a plan. Like, I had my different like sell targets for different things, and we just never hit them. It was like general consensus, like from a lot of people, like, of course we're going to 100K.
Yeah.
And so, like I had that kind of like, almost like blind optimism of, instead of like really reevaluating things and being like, okay, do I still think that's true? Like getting a little caught up in the hopium almost of like, oh, well, yeah, we're still going to go to 100K. No problem. And so I think that that's one of the things that I maybe want to do a little bit better in the next bull run is just really like having a more critical eye on like what the general consensus is from the community and being like, is that really like where and just kind of like really, I guess, like getting a little bit less swept into the hopium and just being like having a little bit more like a laddered approach. So, obviously like with, people talk about DCAing into crypto, I think that having plans to kind of ladder, progressively, if you want to, out can also be really valuable because then, you can buy back in and ladder back down. So, I think that like working on like calibrating those a little bit better and being a little bit more like honest on like where it may or may not go. But I mean, but it's all good. Like, I think that's what's exciting is like, ultimately, like if I hold Bitcoin, I'm not worried, like obviously like I dabble around in different things. But ultimately like none of it's really that stressful because it's like, well, I've got my Bitcoin. I'm going to be okay.
Exactly. You're happy where you're at. And that's what's important. I really do think that, of course, we had a hard year, but I think there's good times ahead. How do you feel for like the next 5-10 years in cryptocurrency, NFTs? Where do you see this all going?
I feel like it's so hard to tell because like, I feel like every year, we had like the big like DeFi summer and then obviously like the crazy, like now like the NFT like wave where like it was just insane. Like you had mentioned earlier, there's the big ICO back in 2017. And so I feel like almost every year, like the market kind of surprises, be a little bit on like, okay, what's going to be like the big thing? But ultimately, then, like those things continue to grow and build. So like, obviously like DeFi, we still are so early into DeFi. There's still like so much to be built. Like it's really is on the edge, which is why like you hear about all these different like, like bridge hacks and different things is because this is like untested technology that we're trying out here. And like, I view all of that as like making us stronger and improving, as we go. And so, I think that, where we're going to be in like 5 to 10 years, like we don't even know because there's just like, there's really no limit to, what could happen. And like, I generally think, especially with like how creative human beings are, like we can't even imagine what that's going to look like yet because like people are so creative with the things that they're able to build and come up with. And, so I don't know, I'm excited. I think that again, kind of like what we were talking about earlier on, like positioning yourself to understand this kind of cutting edge technology, like the more you do that, the more that you are going to be aware of trends that are coming out that you can kind of get on top of and be early on. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, but I'm late to this, I'm late to that. And it's like, that's fine. Maybe you'll be early to the next thing, And so I think just having that kind of learning mindset and just really being like open to what that next thing looks like, even if you don't necessarily at first think it is like paying attention to what people are paying attention to. Like there were so many people that, during the NFT, people were like, I don't get it. These are pictures of JPEGs, and just because you didn't get it doesn't mean that like it wasn't valuable because that attention is valuable, And so I think that's another thing that I need to work on as well is like not just being like, oh, does this have like a really like strong technical use case, but like people are paying attention to this. That's something I should be thinking about and paying attention to as well.
Absolutely. That was great. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for coming today because you really like just gave such a level-headed approach to everything. And I love that, like, you've just been relentlessly working for years now, bull or bear market. You're just here and putting out consistent good stuff and just remaining positive, which I love. Do you mind sharing with everyone where they can find you? And can you give us a message from the heart? It could be about anything. It could be about the plans behind you, your nice camera, or crypto conferences, or the market, your favorite snack, whatever. Let us know a message from the heart.
Okay, so where people can find me, Twitter is probably where I'm the most active, girlgone_crypto, but I'm also on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And so, if you go to just even like my Twitter bio, I've got like a link tree that has all of it. And then a little message from the heart is that I feel like in this space, like we never feel like we're doing a good enough job. Literally every single day, you sold something too early and then it pumped, or you heard about something and you thought about buying it and you never did. And then it goes off and all of your friends made money, but you, and it's just like, like there's so many moments in the crypto space that you can like feel like you're not doing enough, or you aren't making it, you aren't, and I think that just like taking a breath, taking that kind of step back and being like, I am still doing really good. Like maybe I missed this, but reminding yourself, but I did good over here. And every time you miss something, you can like learn from it. Like, what was the story here? What could I have learned from that? So I think taking the time to like view those moments as like a chance to learn and get better, and like view this not as a like, quick, I missed it. It's like, no, you didn't miss it. We're still so early to this space. The market is always presenting opportunities. You missed one, let it go. Another one will come in, And so I think that just taking a deep breath, knowing you're doing a good job, keep learning. And that, I guess that's the message from the heart.
No, I love it. Please, guys, keep learning. Do your own research. Thank you so much. That was so great. I really do love that, because not a lot of people take the time out. They rush into things. And even in the bull market, we saw that so much. People are like, oh my God, new project, new NFT project, money. Here, take my money, throw my money. And it's just like craziness. Like, okay, guys, chill out, keep calm, hoggle on. We're all going to make it. Thank you so much, Lea, again, for coming on. Guys, please follow Girl Gone Crypto. If you haven't already, you're actually crazy. Make sure you follow her. All of her stuff, again, is in the description of the video. Make sure you catch up on her crypto minutes, her 2-minute tutorials, which are great fire. Thank you guys so much for coming. So much love is in the chat for you, by the way. Thank you guys again so much. Thank you, Lea. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you on Monday for the Daily Zest. Have a great day. And as always, stay zesty. Peace.